Hey there YouTubers, so in this video I'm going to install the I9-13900kf D14 Noctua, some RAM, maybe make a couple of connections so you guys can see some of that. This is basically a partial installation video, alright? So let's start with the CPU. Pop this open, let that go that way. Always, in my opinion, check out your pins, make sure they're good to go. Now our CPU, folks, if you guys can read that. There's our CPU, okay? So it's going to come in basically triangle here. There's a triangle on the plastic gizmo right there, okay? So we're lining those up. Now, you may wonder, why am I doing this video? We've already done what may be the Mac Daddy of CPU coolers, the Arctic Liquid Freezer 420 that I have, right? It's a 420 millimeter or 340 millimeter fans on a massive radiator. And expectations are that this air cooler will not work so great with this CPU. But might as well find out, right? I've kind of run out of videos to make, and I can't just make video game videos all day long, so we gotta do something. All right. Now we'll put thermal paste on here in a bit. Let's put our base down. So what I'm wondering, folks, will I have to undervolt this CPU to get through the benchmarks? That's possible. We had that i7-13700K that was a little erratic. The i5-13600K is been pretty good for us, so I don't really feel like we've got any problems there. All right, so CPU cooler, folks, we want it to be oriented like this. So you see the screw there, it's got to be oriented so that this is on this side, okay? So we'll put that in, and then the second one. And then our nuts. But yeah, there was definitely something up with that i7. This i9, it seems, has run a lot cooler. Now we really only used two. We really only used two CPU coolers with it, but I will also say this motherboard after the BIOS update has been stellar. I do have. Might as well talk about what's going to be on this channel in December. We are obviously in December. We're going to have a Gigabyte UD Z690, which will, folks, get this. It's going to get this CPU in it. So eventually I'll be taking it out of here. And then we'll do some benchmarks. And then it probably, basically that's going to be its new home, okay? Alright, so I like to do kind of the three-line thing anymore. I usually put a little bit more in the middle than on the outskirts. Alright. Now if you're ever wondering if you did a good job with your CPU paste, and you have CPU paste to spare, you can always drop it down, tighten it, and then remove it and see how it looks. Now this thing, folks, sometimes we don't end up aligned here very well. So you just want to put a couple threads on the initial side, and once you get both sides lined up, boom, time to start tightening it down. I can't find my good. I've got a couple of good Phillips head screwdrivers, and I can't find either one of them. The long, nice long ones. I got all these short ones. Like this one, just not long enough. Alright, so I've tightened the opposite side down pretty good. We'll do this side. That's good. I think come January 1st, folks, we'll start recording everything hopefully in 4K again. I think it's time. Alright, so there's that part. Now with the D14, the one I have, I think there's various versions of it. Let's move this out of the way. Actually, let's back up a little bit. You guys need a little height on this. Okay. So this is nice because these things are locked in. But we want to orient our fans in the same direction, okay? This is the intake side, and we want the air coming in from this side, okay? So air is going to go into the intake side. Now, we also got to make sure we line up our wiring right. Oops, and hopefully not break anything. So we're going to be oriented like this. I can feel a lot of dust on these fans. Probably should clean them off. So that just drops down in there like so, and boom, on both sides, right? Then we do this one. Now, I'm going to turn this around. And hope to gosh we can find this. Okay, 4-pin. And probably a good idea to drop back down again. You know, another thing I think I'm going to buy is invest in some good lighting. So, CPU fan optional. A lot of times the one closer to the CPU is the CPU fan, but in this case, no such luck. Alright, so you should do something with those cables. I'll leave that up to you guys later. Oh, we screwed up, folks. Dang. What did we forget to do? The RAM, right? So some of you may not be able to pull this off, and I kind of did this on purpose. Hopefully you watch the video before you do the installation yourself. If you have really tall RAM, you may not be able to get it in here, okay? We want to be in A2 and B2, okay? So basically the second and fourth RAM slots from the CPU. And this can go in only one way, all right? And luckily, I know this RAM will fit in this way because guess what? I just did that backwards. Now, text on this one faces outwards. And should get a double click, right? So, then this guy. And now we can put that fan back on. Sometimes if you have the taller RAM, this thing will be sitting up higher. Change up that angle. If you have the taller RAM, it might be sitting up higher, okay? So in this case, we're good to go now, folks. We got our fans in, plugged in. Now, if you have this already in the case, I was going to say, not really necessarily a pro tip, but you're going to have a one of your connectors in the case is going to be the power switch. Should say power SW. You can barely see it because I use this so much. On this second row here, third and fourth pins in, you'll plug that in, okay? You'll do the rest of these, but before you waste your time plugging everything in, good idea to, you know, test that one out, make sure it works. Now, the other thing you need, so these are kind of like the minimum connections you need to get going. From your power supply, you're going to have a 24-pin connector. That's going to plug in here, okay? So you'll do that connection. Now, on this motherboard, it features a 1x8 and a 1x4. So you would come in and install the 1x8, and then this power supply I have in front of for demos doesn't have dual 2x8s or 2x4s. So you would then come in and figure out which one of these is going to actually allow you to snap that in and do that. Okay, now you only need the 1x8 to get this thing going. If you're going to do some intense overclocking, you should probably make sure you have the 1x8 and the 1x4 installed. That would be my recommendation. Better to spread that electrical load over the two different cables. All right, so that's really all that I'm going to show you for this video, folks. There are, a lot of other connections you may need in your case. If you got USB 3.0s, you'll connect this. If your case has a Type-C Charlie, you would connect that. Over here, USB 2.0s. If your case has one of these, you'll use this. If you needed a Wi-Fi card, which you don't because this one has Wi-Fi, but if you buy the other version that doesn't have Wi-Fi, then you would probably need to use that. And then eventually, folks, depending on what graphics card you get, or excuse me, what CPU you have, you may need to install the graphics card right away. So this is the KF. The F means it does not have integrated graphics, so this would need a graphics card installed. And with that graphics card, we would also need to plug in PCIe power to it. If I can find that cable, and that'll look something like that. All right. Thanks for checking out the video, folks. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you.